Tigers 87 brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered draft beer. It's as real as it gets. By True Value Hardware, more than just a name, it's our way of doing business. And by your local John Deere dealers. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Mother's Day and welcome to Tigers 87. I'm Bernie Smilovitz, and today the Tigers have a big job on their hands. They must avoid their second consecutive sweep at the hands of the Oakland A's. Last night, the A's made it 2 straight over Detroit with a come-from-behind 8-7 win at Tiger Stadium. We've got highlights. We'll begin in the Tigers' second man on. Mike Heath singles here to right. That brings Alan Trammell home. The Tigers take the lead at 1-0. Detroit third. Kirk Gibson at bat. Just back, boom. A golf shot to right. And watch where this hits. Off the foul pole. Second home run of the year for Gibby. It's 2-1 Tigers. Tigers' sixth man on. 2 men on. Mike Heath unloads a 3-run home run. What a day for Heath yesterday. 4 for 4, 4 RBIs. The Tigers had a 5-2 lead at this point. Tigers' 7th man on. Darrell Evans says, boom, goodbye. Home run for Evans, 4th of the year, 2-run shot. The Tigers led it 7-4, but then it fell apart. Oakland 8th man on. Tony Phillips against Jeff Robinson. He hits a home run here to left, a 2-run shot. The lead was just 7-6 at this point. Later in the 8th, 2 men on. The Penguin, Ron Say, rips a double here off Mark Thurman to left. Both runners were running. Both will score. The A's come from behind to beat the Tigers 8-7 last night. Time to head over to Tiger Stadium, where George Kell and Al Kaline are standing by. Gentlemen, is it my imagination, or does this team seem a little listless or down to you?
Well, they're a little down, Bernie. There's no doubt about that. Anytime you're losing, you look bad. But this team needs a spark of some kind. They need somebody to ignite them, Al, to get them started. They need a little lift.
Well, it's always the case, George, when you worry. The pitching has been so good over the course of the year, and now it looks like they're starting to score some runs, and the pitching is starting to go the other way. And that's one of the things you worry about when you go into a slump. What they need is, like you say, George, someone to have a big game, a pitcher maybe to pitch a shutout, and to have a blowout. Everybody have a laugher, and maybe they can relax and start playing good baseball.
They got that a couple of weeks ago, though, in a couple of games where they scored 12, 13 runs, and they still fell back into this trap.
Well, the problem right now, and I know this is worrying Sparky very much, nobody in the bullpen to stop them. They had a 3-run lead last night on 2 different occasions, and a couple of the players told us today they were worried about the ball game. Willie Hernandez is not pitching. He might go back on the disabled list. He's limping around. King's in the starting rotation. He might have to leave that and go back to the bullpen.
Well, they can't get anything settled. You know, the bullpen, with King in the bullpen, it's pretty good, but he's such a young guy. They want him in the starting rotation. You hate to waste a guy like that in the bullpen. I think it all stems to how Willie Hernandez can do, and right now he's hurting again, and as George mentioned, he might have to go on the disabled list again.
There have been trade rumors all week. Dan Petry's name mentioned. What do you guys hear?
We hear what you do, just rumors, nothing official yet. I know the Tigers would like to make a deal, something to strengthen the ball club, but anytime you do, you're going to have to give up somebody. I don't think they're gung-ho at all about trading Dan Petry. You just don't get rid of a proven pitcher like Petry unless you're really going to make a whale of a deal.
Well, it's a terrible situation to be in as a player, particularly someone of Petry's stature who has been a good pitcher over a long time here in Detroit, and it's a terrible situation for him to be in, to read and hear so many things about his name being mentioned in different trades, and it puts an awful lot of pressure on someone who has a lot of pressure on him to begin with.
Last week, Sparky said this was the best team he had ever had in Detroit. It would be tough to agree with that after this week, huh?
Well, Sparky has said that before. He gets enthused, and that's not all bad. He's got to believe in his ball club. This is the ball club that he has, the team that's on the field right now. He's got to be enthused. He's got to believe in it, Al.
Well, this is a good team if everybody plays the way they should, and so far they have not. You have a lot of players on this ball club that are so far down in their batting average, their run production. But if they would ever get to where they should be and where they probably will end up after the season, then this is a very fine ball club. But you have to have a lot of little things to win games, and so far the Tigers are not doing the little things.
All right, gentlemen, we'll see you in a little while with trivia.
Okay, Bernie. All
right. George and Al, as I said, with trivia, and Sparky next here on Tigers 87. Stay with us.
It's real. was a time when there was only one kind of beer. Rich, smooth draft beer. It wasn't pasteurized or tampered with. It was just real beer. Miller Genuine Draft is as real as that. It's not heat pasteurized like most other beers. It's cold filtered, so it's as rich and smooth as only real draft beer can be. Miller Genuine Draft.
It's as real as it gets.
How long does a John Deere last?
How long does a John Deere last? How long does a John Deere last? How long does a John Deere last? How long does a John Deere last? Well, come on.
Available at Brady Sales and Service in Burton and Jim's Lawn Shop in Swartz Creek.
If you're thinking about buying a new lawnmower, consider how quickly most of them are sold off, how fast they're wheeled off, and how soon they're hauled off. If that's a turnoff, then turn to Lawn Boy. Built to run year after year after year, because mowers that don't run as long are for the birds.
Save up to $100 now at Mannion Brothers Hardware, Saginaw, and JR Sales and Service, Owasso.
You're working on your American dream, 'cause you want it to last forever. And if something is starting to show the years, you want to make it better.
Give your home new Anderson windows, 'cause when it comes to your home, nothing but the best will do.
Come home to quality. Come home to Anderson.
Available at Sequin Lumber, Bay City, Quality Door and Lumber, both locations, Hops Lumber and Supply, Mayville, and Wicks Lumber, all locations.
Now it's time for Tiger Trivia, brought to you by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer.
Well, it's time for our trivia question, and I want to hear Al Kaline work his way out of this question because it's going to be a real dandy. 5 cards have just been drawn, and we're going to be placing our calls during today's game. If you remember last Sunday from Oakland, Adele Gentke of Dearborn Heights correctly answered your question, Al Kaline. Now work your way out of this.
You have to know that we get this right as we go on the air. So in the past 16 seasons, only 2 right-handed hitters have won the American League batting crown. Now listen to this. Tony Oliva was one of them. Now he was a left-handed hitter. Who was the other right-handed hitter to win the American League batting crown? He won it with Boston. He's playing for Oakland right now.
Who is the only right-handed hitter then? Here's Bernie. He'll tell you how you can enter the contest.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. If you'd like to play Tigers Trivia, send your name, your address, and your telephone number on a postcard to Tigers Trivia, Post Office Box 329. The zip code in Detroit is 48231. We're going to head back to Tiger Stadium, where manager Sparky Anderson is standing by. I'm curious about your thoughts on last night. You had a 5-2 lead, a 7-4 lead. Last week we talked about great hitting, lack of hitting, and great pitching, and now it's sort of reversed.
Well, I think that anytime you're in one of the things that we're in, Bernie, you're always going to have happen what happens. In other words, if you're pitching real well, then all of a sudden you're not going to pitch and you're going to hit well. If you're hitting real well and not pitching well, all of a sudden you're not going to hit and you pitch well. That's why I think this thing is close to being over. I sure hope so, because I've never seen a ball club that has as many good players on it, our club, go so bad for so long.
Well, you said that last week. You said this is the best team you'd ever had here in Detroit, and you took some knocks for it this week in the papers.
Bernie, believe me one thing. I could care less about the knocks, and I could care less about media for this reason. The reason that they're there doing that is because they can't do the other.
Let me ask you about Willie Hernandez. Problem with the calf. Seems like he's had problems all year. Where do you go from here with Willie Hernandez?
I don't know. I'll know tomorrow morning, Bernie, with the doctors. They're going to test him over at Ford Hospital on some kind of machine that they test for the strength and what's wrong with the muscle. I got to the point anymore. I leave everything up to the doctors.
But you got to be down a little bit, because this is a guy that you really counted on.
I'm not down one bit, Bernie. I still believe in this club and will believe in it, and going to work all year believing that. I don't believe in being down. My granddaughter sits at my desk, and as long as she's looking at me, I'll never be down.
Okay. Let me ask you about trade rumors. Lots swirling around this week. Dan Petry's name mentioned. Any possibilities of a deal?
Let me say this. There isn't any player on this ball club that I don't think could be traded if we got the thing that we felt would help this ball club. It would take tremendous amount to get somebody like that, whoever on this ball club. If we could get way more than anybody we felt was worth, I'm sure we'd do that.
Were you close to a deal this week?
I have no idea about that. I don't have nothing to do with that end.
Let me ask you about the telegram you sent to Chuck Daly and the Pistons. What was that about?
No, I sent Chuck a telegram wishing him, you know, very good luck. As I talked to Jacques when they were up in Edmonton, I told Chuck one thing, though. I said, Chuck, keep up the good work. They don't even know I'm in town right now, so maybe I can get to June before they know it.
George and Al talked about this team needing a big outing. You agree with that?
We need somebody to stand up here and really have like a Big Ten days. You know, you look around at all the ball clubs, and you look at Downing and Inklaville, and you look at some of these clubs, McGuire with 8, some guys with 11 and 12. We need one player to go ahead and have about a 10-day stretch where you just carry a ball club. And if you don't get that, you got problems.
All right, Sparky, thank you much.
Thank you, Ben.
Good luck today. When we return, our roundtable discussion begins here on Tigers 87. Stay with us.
My whole life story has been a Mother's Day kind of thing because my mom has always been #1 in my heart. She's always taken care of me when, you know, through good and bad. She's called me through this semi-slump that I'm in right now. So I'm just grateful to her for everything she's done for me, and I'm just looking forward to doing a lot of good things for her.